It might be dry. It sounds dry. Fuel pump let us down. Little did we know, we just got to put fuel in it. Well, it's been a long time since I made a video. I think middle of June, July, last time we went to Langley. Had the Honda. It's got a D series in it. The thing's a complete piece of junk. Down on power all the time. That's what has stirred this creation. It's a K24 Z3. I think it's a Z3, X3, Z3, Z, yeah, whatever. 2009 TSX. That's what's going to end up going in it. Problem with owning a Honda is I'm not a Honda guy. Know nothing about them. Don't care to know anything about them. But when swapping it, the biggest issue was engine management, because I'm not going to pay for Honda K-Tuner or K-Pro, I think is what it's called. I don't even know what it's called. And then getting a standalone ECU costs more than what the car's worth. So that's what got the idea of putting a LS ECU. You can see it's a 411, a P01 on this to control it. Surprisingly, it worked out really well right off the bat. The biggest issue was getting a crank signal because of the tone wheel that is on it. I think it's a 60 tooth?
60 minus 2.
60, so it is a 58 tooth. Why are we not focused? 58 tooth, which a Gen 4 LS runs on those. But that is a Gen 4.
Gen 4.
Yeah, Gen 4 LS runs on those. And a P01's a Gen 3. So you can get a signal converter from Ballinger, I believe it is, where it'll take a 58 tooth signal, convert it to a 24 tooth signal to work with a P01. That, I think it was $300-400, something like that. Again, that cost more than the entire engine that came from the junkyard. And if you don't believe that it really came from the junkyard, it's got paint marks all over this thing. It came from the junkyard, but the engine has actually been replaced in the car that was in the junkyard. So the tone wheel was the biggest issue, which resulted in making a single track one, just like a 24 tooth. Have you seen a 24 tooth? Which I think we have one. Yeah, let's take a look at that. We actually have one. If you haven't seen one outside of the engine before, it's actually a split pattern, and it reads, I think it reads the high and low of it. Is that how it works?
Yeah, it's a totally different concept than any other engine.
Yeah, you can see that it's a dual track.
They call it a dual pattern.
Yeah.
And the actual crank sensor there are 2 mag pickups in the sensor as well.
Okay. I do remember that now.
And the dual track was designed to make it start better and so forth, but there is no other engine out there
with a wheel like that.
A wheel like that, and there's no pattern to the teeth count.
No.
I mean, it's high, low. There's 12 wide teeth, 12 narrow teeth, 12 wide gaps, and 12 narrow gaps.
And you can see the spacing on them. Like there's no I guess symmetrical pattern. Exactly. is what we're trying to get at, because you can see high, and then on the other side it's low. It keeps going again.
Like this one has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, and then 1. And there's no other pattern under that has 5 small teeth, and then there are the 5 long ones. But there's no other place on that wheel that has that. But the computer recognizes that And from there, it knows where number one cylinder
Right.
is, the top dead center, and from there it can go and figure out the rest.
So simple solution would be just put that wheel in the Honda. Doesn't quite work out that way. For one, the crank, the way it registers on the crank, the diameter is different. You can make a spacer, but that still wouldn't work. Because if you look at the Honda one, it actually is, it's dished. It sits over the counterweight, and the ring or the teeth is over the counterweight as well. So it doesn't, you can't just bolt it on flat and it works, because the sensor wouldn't pick it up. And that stirred the issue of trying to use a Honda sensor on a single track wheel, which didn't work at all because of the way they read, which the LS is a 5-volt.
The LS is it's 12, but
There you go.
P01 is a 12 volt, but when it senses a tooth, it sends voltage to the ECU on the crank signal. Whereas the Honda, when it sees a tooth, it grounds the ECU.
Okay.
So when we hook the Honda sensor as is, we could never get any signal, get no output whatsoever. And then is when we discovered and researched and found that that is considered a pull down sensor.
Yep.
That the Honda provides voltage to that pin, and then when the crank sensor sees a tooth, it grounds it, and that's what makes the pulses that the ECU can determine.
Which then we ended up having to flip the pattern on the single track wheel because of how the sensor operates. Because in the engine is still the stock K24 crank sensor, and now I have a picture of the wheel that we made, which we made in here on the mill and the lathe. It started off, that's a 1/2 inch thick, and I forget the diameter, but it weighs 3.5 pounds or something like that. And when it got cut down, it was within, I think it was just a couple ounces of that one. It
Not much.
Yeah, it wasn't much, not enough to matter for what this is. So other than the crank sensor and the wheel, everything else has been pretty much straightforward on making it happen. We did have to, the indexing of it was a little funny when cutting it on the mill, of knowing where number one was going to be on the wheel in reference of where it goes at in the block. But we got that solved, and it's within 3 degrees when the engine's running.
I think we're within, it's maybe less than 3.
Yeah. So I know when on timing, if you start it up and you're commanding for easy numbers 20 degrees of timing, it's actually 23 at the engine. So that's just something that gets noticed when making adjustments in the tune. But injectors, or GM injectors as well, those are 36 pounds out of a 3800 series supercharged V6. All the sensors on this, other than the crank sensor.
Crank and cam sensor are Honda.
Yeah.
But they've been converted to pull up
Right.
the resistor.
So
Map sensor from
it's LS.
It's LS that bolts in the original spot.
Oh, same with the
Massive.
the adapter to bolt a LS throttle body onto the Honda.
It had an electric throttle, right?
Yeah, it was electric throttle. It was drive-by-wire.
Drive-by-wire.
Which is now drive-by-cable to work with the LS ECU. It still gets a cam signal from the stock exhaust cam, just how it was if the Honda was doing it. So, but that again, that's the Honda sensor to reference to the LS ECU. Got your normal LS coils. Those are a D16 spark plug wire. They literally fell right into the valve cover, laying on the spark plug just fine. We did cut the ends off,
You put the LS
and
in.
yeah, and put the coil side end on it. But I think that's really the crazy part. Oh, the resistor that is in the in line for the cam and the crank. That's like the life of this thing running, is that little plug right there. Actually, we can pull that apart.
There's a resistor. There's one that's not.
Oh, okay, yep.
This is for the cam right now. We haven't made the plug-in yet, but
Yep.
that just provides 12 volt to the signal of the cam signal, and then when the crank or the cam sees the tooth, it grounds that, and that's what the ECU sees as a signal.
Yep. So, and that's that same resistor is what's in that weather pack connector. It's just looped over. You can see it in there. That way, if whatever happens to that resistor, if it ever does, you can pull it apart, replace it, plug it back in, and it will run. But it's a deadhead system. The 411, those come on a return style LS, which that's nothing crazy. You just reference fuel pressure differently. That's what that whole contraption over there is. That's another project for another day. It does work, and maybe you can guess what it is. But that's what we got. 43 pounds of fuel pressure. That's what those injectors operate on. Other than that, it's nothing crazy. It's just a bone stock K24 Honda from the junkyard.
Where'd you get your cams?
Oh, we did change the exhaust cam. The intake is the stock
Stock intake.
to the I think it's a Z3. I might be saying that wrong. But the exhaust cam also came out of the junkyard. That's from a 06 TSX. Yeah, 06 to 08 TSX exhaust cam. It doesn't have VTEC on it anymore. We got another set of exhaust rockers and put it on the intake side of this to eliminate VTEC.
No variable lift.
Yep, no variable lift. Does still have a variable valve timing.
Oh yeah.
Which that's pulse width modulated controlled. We don't have that luxury, but we still can control it, and it sounds well, we'll just say the sound of it changes dramatically just at idle or RPM when you engage or disengage it. So right now, as you can see, it's just running on the ground. We're not going to run it long. It doesn't have any coolant in it, and we haven't done anything dramatic with the tune in that ECU right there. It's based off of a 4.8, which ironically this engine is a 2.4, which is half of that. It fired up actually completely stock 4.8 tune. This thing actually did fire off and idled. We've changed it a little bit on the air speed, some stuff in the air and idle. Nothing dramatic yet, just because it's not in the car. Once it gets up to temperature and everything else, it will change.
It's so cold now, there's no need to do any tuning. But the fact that it does start this well cold.
Oh yeah,
plus.
yeah. It was when it first lit off, our jaw about hit the floor because we were baffled by it. But
that was an interesting thing too. Was the cam phasing when we first put it together? Where it was 180 out.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, we did have, because you get a thing that LS ECU is meant for 8 cylinders. We're only using half of it, and knowing which number one in the ECU will be number one on this now. Which actually number one was fairly simple, but knowing 2, 3, 4.
Well, the big thing was the cam sync on the Honda is evidently opposite that of the LS. So when the cam was getting a signal of going high, it was
right.
actually firing cylinder 4.
Yep.
So what we just did is number 4 cylinder is now number 1 cylinder.
Yep.
And it just goes from there. So it's just it was 180.
Yeah, for
the injectors and the coils.
Yeah, just like you have a distributor 180 out on a conventional V8, that thing was blowing a blue flame slam over to here when we were first cranking on it, and it's pretty much a dead giveaway at that point. It was just trying to pinpoint what was causing it, because everything was pinned correctly in the ECU and on the engine according to how a GM operates, but the actual high and low on the engine itself is opposite of a LS.
And we were kind of expecting that was a possibility. I mean,
Yeah.
the crank sensor picks up number one, but it doesn't know if it's on compression or if it's on exhaust, and that's what
Right.
the cam sync does. And again, they're evidently opposite of each other. And
Yep.
but once that was figured out, it surprised.
Yeah. And the adapter plate for the, you can't even really call it, I guess it's still considered a plate. It's some kind of plastic. It's blue plastic. There's no gasket between the throttle body and that. The thing's just RTV'd on there. And you can't see it because of the lighting. But it's actually, on the inside of that, it's tapered because that throttle body is bigger than what the opening on the intake is. Which we did that right there on the lathe. Everything has been made here. The only thing that we didn't make, those all those discs and everything, those get cut by Laser Brothers, and they do a really good job. It's amazing. You just upload a file and it shows up at your house. So, but I think we can fire it off. You can at least hear it. And let me get connected real quick. And
I'll turn the fuel pump on.
yeah. That's our biggest kick, is not having fuel pump. Ignition is on. And just to prove, yeah, you can see this thing used to be a SUV with a 6.0. Clearly not the case. And we're gonna start our scan. Are we ready? Fuel pump's on.
Fuel pump's on.
Well,
we might be running out of fuel because I think that fuel
Yeah.
pump's sound a little funny.
yep, maybe so. We out of fuel.
I don't hear anything.
Oh, hold on, try now.
Is it going?
It's off now. It might be dry. It sounds dry.
Stand by.
Yeah, hang on a second. To be continued. We promise it really does run. Fuel pump let us down. Little did we know, we just got to put fuel in it.
No matter how much wiring you do,
Yeah,
still needs fuel.
if you don't turn the fuel pump on, it never works. Let's reconnect. All right, round two. to think that there's virtually nothing done to the tune yet. It's still bone stock 4.8 stuff that's in it, in a junkyard engine with a junkyard ECU. So, but next time we'll see it, it'll be in the car driving around. We'll get to do a whole lot more with it. And
With dual exhaust.
yeah, the exhaust is going to come through the hood, so it's going to be popping, banging, throwing a flame, everything else, and see how much more power it has than a 1.7D series.